Hi, this is Spend It Like You Mean It, a podcast that's going to show you how changing one habit can change the whole world. I'm Christine Rochelle, and I have not been doing my podcast for a hot minute, or 2 months to be exact. And you may have wondered where I went, and I went on sabbatical. I promised you I would talk about Bite Toothpaste Bits, and that is what we're going to talk about today. But if you're interested in learning about what happened on my sabbatical and what I might be changing about this podcast, stay tuned. Because the first thing is these toothpaste bits. I have had plenty of time to use them, and if you haven't heard about them, they are little pills, tablets, however you want to call them, that replace ordinary toothpaste in the tube. So the first thing you might notice about this episode is I am not doing the same format that I ordinarily do. Usually everything I want to say would be planned out, and I would have lots of references, maybe some history. I would tell the whole story about toothpaste and how tubes got invented. And that was my original plan. And perhaps you would be interested in that. But it's been 2 months and I felt like I have to get another episode out because there are bigger and better things that we're going to talk about in this podcast. And if I wait until I feel like writing about toothpaste, that might never happen. So, first things first, this jar that I'm holding up, I'm on a video. So if you're not watching the video, you'll have to check me out on YouTube there or on my Facebook page, Spend It Mean It on Facebook. There is a giant giant jar here that I got as my second jar. It holds 90 toothpaste bits. And then there's a tiny jar, which my original purchase was the tiny jar, and I use that for travel. However, now that I'm on a subscription, I will get a cardboard refill to refill these jars. So you're probably hearing noise on this podcast, and I'm not in my basement recording in a beautiful space that has lovely acoustics. I am actually sitting in my study, and I am sort of riffing it today. And that is because, as I mentioned, I want to get this episode out. And also I wanted to see about doing a YouTube channel. And in the future, you probably won't see me talking like this because I think we've proven already in the first 5 minutes, I am really not good at just speaking off the cuff. However, there are more important things to talk about in this podcast, and I don't want to spend too much time on this one product or spend too much time trying to get the episode perfect. One of my mottos, pretty common, don't let perfect be the enemy of the good. So, without further ado, let's talk about these toothpaste bits. They're called Bites, and I'll hold them up again so you can see. So they were invented as a solution to the issue of toothpaste tubes. Plastic tubes and caps can't be recycled. And I never thought about it before, honestly. I threw them out, and then this movement began that has really taken off on Instagram and Twitter about going plastic free. And that's a big issue right now. We did not address the plastic problem 30 years ago when I remember it first being discussed, and they were discussing biodegradable plastics. Why didn't we do that? I do not know. This particular woman came up with the idea to put toothpaste in a tablet form. It's not like a gel cap, it's more like a powdery tablet, but you use a wet toothbrush, get that spit going in there, and it works really well. So the idea is you get a jar, it's a glass jar, which is eminently more recyclable than plastic. and it has a metal cap, also more recyclable than plastic, because as I've mentioned on my Instagram account, which is a personal account, but you're welcome to look for me, the market for recyclable plastics is dwindling, and the countries that are willing to buy our recyclables are also dwindling. So we need to think of an alternative solution. These toothpaste bits come in cardboard refills. So when I'm ready for my next set, I won't get another glass jar. I'll get a refill, and cardboard is not only recyclable, but it's also biodegradable. So if it doesn't happen to get recycled, if you don't have recycling near you, if you have to throw it away, it does biodegrade. I would guess that it is also compostable because of that. So maybe I'll compost it. I do that. I found that they were not as flavorful as I'd hoped. The mint flavor isn't very strong. I bought the activated charcoal to help with teeth stains, so I don't know if it's really helped with that or not. I didn't feel like my teeth got any whiter. I have pretty white teeth already, and I ended up getting some Crust whitening strips during my sabbatical. I didn't finish the box, but I didn't find that the activated charcoal actually did that much to remove stains. However, my teeth felt really clean, like dentist clean. And a couple times after I first made this switch, I felt like I really missed that glycerin-filled gel sensation in my mouth of super minty freshness with the frothiness of a gel. And when I would brush my teeth like that after I started, they never felt as clean as when I was using the toothpaste bits. The other benefit to these is, as the founder pointed out, we can take medications sublingually because they will absorb under our tongue. So what are we putting in our mouths in our toothpaste? Things that might be safe in limited doses. You're not supposed to swallow it, but I can see her logic here. And the ingredients listed on the Bite Toothpaste Bits website, they're pretty standard, and they're probably not going to kill me. Includes things like clay and baking soda and things you would expect to find in a homemade toothpaste. But the beauty of the bits is that they are single dose. They are easy to travel with. It's one less liquid or gel that you have to worry about, and one less thing you have to think, oh, I need less than 3 ounces, or I need a travel toothpaste tube. You don't have to worry about any of that. I've traveled many places, flown multiple times in the past few months, and I've loved them. I've loved that they're so easy to use. They do taste good. They don't taste gross. They are effective at cleaning my teeth. One great thing about waiting to do this episode is that I actually went to the dentist. I had a dentist appointment scheduled for my regular checkup. I go very religiously every 6 months. That is a big deal for me. I have soft enamel, weak enamel. I have had so many fillings. I'm pretty religious about my oral hygiene care. Unless I'm going through some personal issues or something, which is a whole different thing. Generally, I'm taking really good care of my teeth, and I have good dental checkups, but they do a lot to prevent future cavities, which just come from weak enamel, and I've had it my whole life. They, meaning my dentist and my hygienist, they paint fluoride on my teeth every 6 months, so I get a super concentrated fluoride treatment. I also get sealants, which they recommended this last time, and they've added another prescription for me. So my enamel has weakened to the point that it's showing up in x-rays as shadowy, which doesn't mean much to you if you don't look at tooth x-rays much, but basically it's showing that the density of my tooth enamel has weakened, and then the spots between my teeth that is going to become weak spots for future cavities. Since I've been using these Toothpaste Bits for a couple months, 3 months, I was hoping the remineralization that they promised was going to strengthen my enamel. I read about this, I hear about this with homemade toothpaste or toothpaste powders, this remineralization that's supposed to happen. And I don't think that actually happens with these. I'm not sure that actually happens with any of those products. I have found that there's scant research, and when you do Google searches or any search engine, I'm actually not a fan of Google, it's hard to find anything that says that you can actually remineralize your teeth with those products. And the fact that I went to the dentist after a few months of using this and discovered that, oh, my enamel is actually weakening. One, it shows that the fluoride alone in the toothpaste I was using previously and in the mouthwash that I still use, not doing enough. And two, it showed that these toothpaste bits, after 2 months of use, are not doing the trick. That said, they also do not contain fluoride. I mentioned this to my dental hygienist, and she said that she understands the concern that people have, but it generally results in people getting more and more cavities the longer they use products without fluoride. So if you are not wanting fluoride in your toothpaste or any of your oral hygiene products, this product does not have fluoride in it. I use a mouthwash afterwards. It does have fluoride. I'm not super religious about that because whatever. My teeth feel so clean after brushing them with the toothpaste bits that I don't feel that I need to use the mouthwash all the time. So now I feel like, okay, maybe I'm gonna have to listen to my dental hygienist and maybe start using this mouthwash to get the fluoride that I'm not getting otherwise. And I tried to do some research on that as well, which I may link to in my website, links, spenditmeanit.com. I post every podcast, and I also post a list of links in a sort of informational page where you can find every link for every podcast I've done. And I did find that the pituitary gland is absorbing fluoride, and there are studies that show that this is happening, but what the results of that are, we don't know. And it's pretty ubiquitous in society right now, meaning fluoride is everywhere. So it's probably kind of hard to tell without doing some cross-cultural study around the world. So let's not get too deep into that. Basically, what you need to know is my hygienist says I need fluoride. I also have very weak enamel. They have prescribed a paste that I am to use every night. I think it's going to last several weeks or maybe a couple months. It won't last the full 6 months. It's one tube. It has Recaldent, which is a brand name for a milk derived calcium that is going to remineralize my teeth. And so that's a whole thing that is not happening with this product. However, this product is great because it is saving those plastic caps and tubes. And that is exactly what I need. I need to get away from the plastic. So I really do think that my teeth were going to go this route regardless. Obviously, I used other types of toothpaste before this. I only get x-rays once a year. I go to my dentist every 6 months. So who knows in the past year at what point they started weakening to this level, and I can't blame this product for that at all. I highly recommend it. What I also found in my research was that this is not the only tablet product for toothpaste. Lush Cosmetics have this, and they've had it at least since 2015. So I was a little shocked by that. I was a little shocked that they don't push this product more for its sort of environmental impact, but maybe that's just not what Lush customers are into. I haven't tried theirs, but you can try them. They're online. You can buy them online on lushcosmetics.com. Maybe that's not the right website. I'll link that too. Again, I'm just riffing here and I'm just trying to get through this so you understand this is a great product that is having a major impact on your waste. I don't know how often you go through toothpaste tubes, but if you have a family, it's probably somewhat frequently. And if you're buying from Sam's Club and getting 6 cartons at a time, and you think about if you stand in a wholesaler or you stand in your pharmacy and look at a wall of toothpaste tubes, and then imagine how many of those pharmacies and those club stores and grocery stores there are in your town, and how many of those towns there are in your state, and just extrapolate to how many toothpaste tubes are all over the planet, you get a sense of how much of a problem of waste that this is in just one product that you can solve really quickly with something that makes your teeth feel cleaner and is honestly a 2-minute, 3-minute part of your morning or end your evening. So we're talking less than 10 minutes out of your day with this product and not creating a piece of waste that is going to last for many, many, many years. Depending on what source you look at, United States, we are throwing away 400 million to 1 billion toothpaste tubes every year. That can be completely eliminated with one product, whether you get it from Bite, which I recommend because I've tried them and they're delicious and they do work, or from Lush. I think this is kind of a no-brainer. It's a little bit different than the bamboo toothbrush, which I have not reviewed on this podcast because I tried it well before I got on the podcast, and now I use an electric toothbrush. So if you really want to reduce your plastic waste, these daily habits where you and your whole family are using things that are not recyclable, like plastic toothpaste tubes and caps and plastic toothbrushes, you can make a big dent in a really fast way. And the more of us that do it, the bigger our impact, which is frankly the whole point of this podcast. So that brings me around to where I am and why I haven't been around for a couple months. Besides the fact that I was just completely uninspired to write an episode about Toothpaste Bits, I really have been doing a lot of research, a lot of reading. I have been on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter, Spend It Mean It, same handle as my Facebook handle. And if you just follow everybody I follow, I am amazed at what's happening in the culture all around the world right now. I am not alone in this. And if you are listening to this because you are interested in how you can make an impact with your purchases, not only is this podcast going to help you because we're going to discuss those issues and some of the confusing issues and some of the politics, some of the business. There's a lot of products out there. There's a lot of companies out there who are trying to do the right thing, and it is so uplifting. My goal is to be positive, to give you solutions, to give you options, to do the research so that you know if a product is worthwhile or not, so that you know if that fair trade certified label is actually making a difference to somebody in some other country, to know if made in the USA makes a difference, or to know if products or companies that are cooperatives like REI are worth shopping with. There's so much to talk about and to cover. Go back to my first episode 1, and the next 2 after that. I really go into the reasons why I'm doing this podcast. What I found in these last 2 months is that we are not alone in wanting to do this, and there is a movement already going. There's a conference on this kind of ethical business and of sustainability, and there are people talking about reaching audiences and getting to consumers who are interested in this sort of thing, and they're out there. There are ethical fashion brands and labels, and there are many of them. I posted about one recently on Facebook that they are trying to reduce how many times you wash your clothes. I mentioned this in an episode recently where I was saying it seems like, and this is what I think a lot of people feel like, it seems like when you try to go one way and do the right thing in one direction, then in the other direction, there's some price to pay. There's some caveat. There is some sort of balancing factor that you just can't seem to get ahead. So, maybe you are trying to buy grass-fed, grass-finished, healthy meat for your family that maybe is a better environmental impact, but you're buying it from overseas via mail order, and is the carbon footprint too big? Are you not supporting your local farmers? That episode covered so much of that, and if you are wondering if it matters, that's what these episodes are all going to be about, because I realize that the people who are going to be the most interested in hearing about these issues are the ones who do care but feel frankly overwhelmed, which is pretty reasonable. So the good news is it's out there. It is out there, and there are people doing and talking about amazing things. There are people doing podcasts on ethical fashion. There are people doing Twitter ethical hour, we're shopping ethically. There are apps out there that will direct you toward shops and stores that you can buy from that might meet your values, whether your values are vegan or environmentally sustainable or fair trade, whatever your values are that you're looking for. There are apps out there that will evaluate your products or evaluate the store, and we'll talk about that at some point in the future too. Ultimately, I wanted to reset, reevaluate, and my sabbatical was completely personal. It had nothing to do with the podcast. It was burnout, and that is such a real issue, especially for, I think, people who are trying to progress on a certain career track, or people who might have multiple jobs, or like me, I'm doing this podcast as well as my day job. You have a side hustle. I think for women who have grown up or came of age in the age of social media, you're comparing yourselves to these other women, you're comparing yourselves to other people. Where do I need to be? What should I be doing? And finally, the market that I'm in, I live in Nashville, Tennessee. I work in construction. And if you don't know, Nashville is insane right now. There are so many people here. Oh my goodness, there's so much construction going on, and I do business development. You'd think I would be thrilled about that. It is insane in an uncomfortable way. We have reached that point. It is uncomfortable. It is too much construction here in Nashville. It is difficult to do the jobs, to price the jobs, to get them done on time, to find the staff, to staff them. It is a real issue. We are at probably the top of the market right now, where it will either steady out or go down, but that issue is real. And I'm trying to get people to spend it like they mean it in my day job, and get people to invest in their build out, in their construction, in their office, in their store, in their final product, where they're going to work for 5, 7, 10 years. These office leases, these retail leases, that's the standard length, and they're going to be looking at this construction for a long time, and they need to get into their space on time. And I'm trying to get people to spend it like they mean it, and I just hit a burnout phase. So I took a sabbatical, and it was amazing. It was fulfilling. I did yoga. I did an at-home retreat. Shout out to Matthew Hussey for his at-home retreat. It is expensive, but it is so inspiring and helpful, guiding me in developing goals and developing the rituals and strategies around those goals. I rode my bike, I hiked, I visited friends, I celebrated my 40th birthday. I just had a wonderful month of self-care, which is just one other thing, just like these toothpaste bites, really, like, self-care is totally spending it like you mean it, because there's only one of you. You get one body. You get one chance at this lifetime, unless you believe in reincarnation, but you still only get one body. You only get this one time in this body. And clothes and shoes and purses for women or for men, whatever toys and gadgets and things that you're into, there's nothing wrong with that. There is something wrong with not taking care of yourself because you're trying to save money. Taking care of yourself should be what you put your money on first. Good food, roof over your head. Oh, I also closed on my house. It's been a crazy month. So there's so many things that I have wanted to talk about, and I have written down, and I have a big board with lots of index cards taped to it with all kinds of topics that go deep into understanding the implications and the power that we have. I've even been reading a book and learning about the history of this kind of a movement, which I had no idea even existed. But Florence Kelly was a woman who, in the Consumers League, in the Industrial Revolution, at the turn of the 20th century, when factories were still hiring children, she came up with the phrase, vote with your dollar. That was a woman who was convincing people in the United States how you spend your money directly influences the livelihoods of someone else and these workers and these employees. And so if you're buying products that were made by child labor, you're responsible for that child labor. She was bold, and I want to talk about her too. So this is probably the longest, most rambling podcast episode I've ever done. And if this is your first, God bless you for hanging in this long. Please go listen to those first 3 episodes and listen to the last episode, and for sure listen to the next one. Subscribe to this podcast if you're listening in Stitcher or iTunes or Google Play or wherever you're listening to. Make sure you're getting those next episodes. Make sure that you are following me on Twitter and Facebook. And that's a lot of to-dos for you. So if you're watching this on YouTube, this will probably be a whole new thing. I just haven't figured out how, so I don't even want to ask you to subscribe yet. But if you want to, do that too, because that's awesome. What I will say is, this is the last rambling episode, first and last. It is to get a message out there and to let you know that I didn't disappear because I gave up or because I was lazy. I disappeared because I was figuring out where this podcast needed to go. I was taking care of myself, and I have realized and come to appreciate that we're not alone out there. So I'm going to be talking to those of you out there who are caring and concerned, but maybe a little busy, and maybe you don't read magazines that talk about the different fair trade certifications, and maybe you don't follow Twitter feeds of sustainable fashion, and maybe you just want to buy a Father's Day gift that is great but also is kind of, good for the earth, or is supporting your dad's favorite cause. Maybe you want to buy from a veteran-owned business. Well, does it matter? Let's find out. Who's hiring veterans out there? Let's find that out too. There are so many values. There are so many different great things, but ultimately all that matters is you have to endorse a product yourself. You have to pay for that so that a company can make money doing it. We have to stop going cheap. We have to stop finding the cheapest, best deal on products. We've got a president who has started a tariff war. My war, your war, can be so much more effective and so much quicker, and it doesn't cause higher prices. It actually causes prices to go down. That's totally different. We're not legislating change. We're creating change. Create change. You have the power. Buy from respectful companies. Reconsider Amazon. Go to a local store. If you don't have time, just find a different website. Maybe a website that isn't trying to take over the world. That's a whole different episode as well. Just understand that you make an impact. Who you tell, that makes an impact. When you tell people about your purchases, when you talk about podcasts like this one, that makes a difference. You are so powerful, and you probably don't have a lot of time. So I'm doing a podcast so you can sit in your car or fold your laundry or cook your dinner and get a little bit of information as often as I can put it out and know what the best choices are without having to sit online and read all the stuff that I'm reading for you. So that's what I'm here for. Again, it's Spend It Like You Mean It. And Spend It Mean It is the website. Spend It Mean It is the Twitter feed. Spend It Mean It is the Facebook page. I will share what I'm reading. If you do want to read more in depth, I'll share what I'm working on, what I'm brushing my teeth with. It's out there and it's amazing, and the world is changing for the better. And so in a sea of dire warnings about how everything is going to hell in a handbasket, I'm here to tell you it's not. You can be part of that. You can be part of making it amazing and so much better. And we're going to have fun doing it. So thank you so much for enduring for this 30 minutes of rambling, because it's the only one you're going to get. Hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that you go check out future episodes as well, because it's a whole new world out there, and if you don't know it yet, you're about to find out, and it's a good world. There are good things going on. So get excited, subscribe, tell all your friends, and be kind to me in the comments if you choose to comment on this video, because I am very sensitive. Thanks so much.